What is up, guys? It's Gabe McKenney, OCB Pro, back at it again with another video. If you guys don't know who I am a natural pro bodybuilder out of Phoenix, Arizona, and currently working towards my natural IFBB Pro card. Today, we are part 3 of the training series where I'm literally gonna give you the blueprint to an elite training plan, and I'm gonna go through my exact push day today, and future videos will be the rest of my split. And I'm literally gonna be giving you my exact push day so you guys can use it for yourself, all right? So literally steal this, put it into play, and get huge. Like, if you can't get huge and you can't run through an effective push day after this video, I don't know what to tell you. So let's go through training part 3, right? This is gonna be push. Eventually we'll go through pull, then we'll go through legs, then we'll go through upper, and then we'll go through lower, which is my entire training split. And I'm gonna be giving you guys the exact movements I do and why. So for today's push day, before we get into it, we must talk about the split and our training, right? Our needs analysis. What do I need? I overall need to grow everything. So I'm gonna be on a split where I hit everything twice a week, all right? That's most optimal. So what I do to hit everything twice a week is simply push, pull, legs, upper, lower. And because I only have one push day a week, as you guys can see, the push day is slightly heavier on the volume because I do not do as much volume for my chest, shoulders, and triceps on the upper day because we have other, muscle groups that come into play on the upper day. Simple, right? You guys understand it? So while some might be like, whoa, that's a lot of volume, right? You have to realize this is only just once a week. I'm not hitting a second push day with all this volume in the week, right? So this is heavy. This is heavy. And it is chest focused because chest is my weak point. I spent years in high school just pretty much just flat benching and leaving the gym, not doing anything for my chest growth, right? So chest and shoulders are a weak point for me. So I have pushed up the volume now, especially on the bulk. But yeah, let's get into it. So first things first, with your needs analysis, you must look at your gym equipment, what equipment you have access to, your adherence, right? Can you actually make it to the gym 5 days a week on a PPL upper lower split? Your sustainability, can you stick to it? Because it doesn't mean anything if you can't stick to this, if you don't have the time to be in the gym for, it takes about an hour and a half for a high quality workout, right? More volume or less volume. Typically, I'm gonna push up the volume slightly on a bulk with me and with all my athletes, and I'm gonna lower the volume or, just maintain on a cut. We may even pull volume if progression starts to dwindle, right? So it kind of makes sense, right? On a bulk and a surplus, recovery is gonna be a bit better. Towards the tail end of a diet, you're gonna wanna do less volume because recovery is not as good. And advanced bodybuilders, right? If you are advanced, you may work better with a specialized split tailored to your weak points, but most of us, pretty much everyone watching this, is probably needs to grow everything. Let's be honest, unless you've been training for 10 plus years, you probably don't need a specialized split and you just need to grow everything, right? So that's exactly what I'm trying to do here is grow everything. I assume one day, my legs may become a strong point and I may be able to taper off the leg day training in order to make room for more frequency with my upper days. But right now, I'm trying to grow everything. So let's go through my exact push day. First things first, train your abs, guys. Train your abs at the beginning of the movement because if not, you're gonna be skipping it. You're gonna be skipping abs if you don't train it at the beginning. So abs are like any other muscle group. They must be progressive overloaded. It's not any different than your chest, right? Like, why would you just do some body weight sit-ups? We don't do push-ups for our chest. So anyway, I do 3 sets of the weighted crunch machine, right? That's the seated one. And then I will do 3 sets of lateral raises, right? Exercise order here is very, very important for me, right? So you can never have too big of shoulders in bodybuilding. Like, as a natural, I'm never gonna have overdeveloped shoulders. They always come first for me, right? Because then the movements at the beginning, I'm gonna be getting more out of it, as well as it kind of gets the blood flow going, when the upper body gets the shoulders warm before I even go into my pressing movements. It doesn't take away from my pressing movements at all. It is a very good first exercise. I love doing lateral raises first, right? So I'll do 3 sets of that, and then I will go into 2 sets of a flat press. For me, it is the Nautilus flat press, right? It's a seated neutral grip flat press, 2 sets of that. And then I'll go into 3 sets of an incline press. And then, so for my flat press, it's 1 top set, 1 back off. Incline press, 1 top set, 2 back offs. I do the prime incline press, which is also neutral gripped, and I will load it so it is heavier on the stretch. Then I'll do a cable lateral raise with cuffs, 2 sets of that. Then I'll do 2 sets of a pec fly. The specific pec fly I use is lower chest biased, right? Because I drive coming from high to low. And then tricep push down, super simple. I like the easy bar grip, right? And then tricep overhead extension, I use the Panada machine where my arms are over my head and I simply extend at the triceps. So that is my full push day. You guys can literally steal this framework and do this type of movement pattern with the equipment your gym has. So I have exactly what I do at my gym, but I will give you guys examples of what you can do at your gym if you are at a basic commercial gym. And again, right, I do a lot of volume. Like I push hard on this day. But like I said, with the PPL upper lower split, I have 3 entire days to recover until upper day, until I hit, more chest, which I'll go over my upper day and what I do there, but it is a lot less than this. So second of all, let's go over training cues when it comes to these movement patterns, and then I'll give you guys exact examples of what you guys can do at a basic commercial gym. So crunch, right? So with the crunch, we want to make sure our spine flex and extends, right? If our spine doesn't curve down and we don't crunch down by bending at the spine, we're not going to be flexing our abdominal muscles all the way. Also, you want to slightly pause in the shortened position, boom, on the crunch part, pause, squeeze the core, and then go back and repeat the movement. Lateral raise, right? We want to drive our pinkies out, and you really want to think about having your elbows slightly higher than your wrists. So we want to drive out with the elbows and have the elbows slightly higher than the wrists. We don't ever want to drive first with the wrist and then with the elbow. Okay? Flat press. This is the best cue I have ever used when it comes to chest movements, and it's one simple thing. If you guys remember one thing from this video, remember this, and that's cue long spine. So what a long spine tells you to do, right? It tells you to keep your chest up, your back flat, you stand tall, and you brace hard, right? Because we do not want a compressed chest, right? With our spine bent, we don't want our scapulas retracted, we don't want to be arched, we want our spine long. Make yourself as long and as tall as possible with that rib cage expanded, brace your core, boom, and move through your chest with your shoulders dropped down. Same exact thing for incline press. The only other thing about incline press is keep your elbows tucked. If your elbows flare out, you will not be biasing your upper chest. If you want to hit your upper chest on an incline press, keep your elbows tucked. And the same thing, cue long spine. Just think long spine, long spine, long spine. I'm telling you guys, that made a huge difference for my pressing movements. Cable lateral raise, same thing as normal lateral raise. Make sure you guys drive with the elbow and make sure that your wrist doesn't come up first before your elbow, all right? Next thing, pec fly. Cue bicep to bicep, right? The harder you try to touch your biceps together, the better contraction you're gonna get. Don't just come here with elbows bent. Extend the arms and drive bicep to bicep. A lot of people ego lift on pec deck and they're pec decking like this. I want you guys to drive bicep to bicep. Tricep pushdowns. Super simple. Just make sure your elbows are stuck to your side and you brace really hard with your core and upper back. Slightly lean forward and just press with the triceps. Super, super self-explanatory. Tricep overhead extensions. Make sure you guys control the movement, right? We don't want to hurt our elbows and we don't want, other muscle groups to take over. We want to keep our elbows tight right here. Slowly extend, small pause in the stretch, and just extend with the triceps. Those are super, super simple. What you have to do with tricep pushdowns and tricep extensions is just make sure you're not ego lifting. So your elbows, actually stay in one spot and you're just driving down with the triceps and you're not just using momentum on both of these movements. All right, so that is the cues for our push day. You guys can screenshot this and literally steal my exact push day framework. So I do the Nautilus crunch at my gym, but if you guys do not have a crunch machine like that, you can easily do cable crunches with the rope. I do the New Tech lateral raise at my gym, but you guys can easily do dumbbell lateral raise. I do the Nautilus seated flat press, but you guys can do the hammer strength seated flat press, or you can do dumbbell seated flat press. I do the prime incline press, but you guys can do Smith machine incline press. Make sure you keep your elbows tucked though. I do the single arm hip height cable lateral raise with cuffs, but you guys can take a D handle and do cable lateral raises with the D handle. I do the new tech pec deck, but you guys can do a normal pec deck, or you can do high to low cable flies in a cable machine. And then I do easy bar tricep pushdowns. You guys can do the same exact thing. A commercial gym will have that. And then I do Panada overhead extension machine. You guys can do cable overhead tricep extensions with the easy bar again, or the cable rope. Another one I really like for an overhead tricep extension is dumbbell skull crushers, where you are laying on a flat bench. You're laying on a flat bench and you have one dumbbell in each hand, and you do dumbbell skull crushers like that. So that's exactly what you guys can do. And then you guys can do these sets right here and steal my exact push day framework. In the next video, we're gonna go over the pull day, then leg day, then upper day, then lower day. But like I said, do a little bit more volume on this day since we have less on our upper day. At the end of the day, it comes down to your needs analysis. So ask yourself, what gym equipment do you have? How many times a week can you train? How long do you have to train? You know, are you trying to push up the volume on a bulk and grow and see if you can still keep progressing? The key to knowing how much volume you can do is doing the most that you can still progress from, right? You want to progress at the fastest rate. So, you know, if you're not progressing a lot, maybe try upping the volume. And if that makes it even worse, okay, then you found the problem. You need to do lower volume. Okay, so you kind of can always make adjustments, right? And once you find a good rate of progression, you just go off that. And then you continue to try to make changes, you know, deeper in the bulk. Maybe I'll try to add a set or two. But honestly, probably not, because once you find a spot where you're progressing really, really fast at, you honestly want to stick there. And that's going to be different for everyone. Someone like me that just eats, sleeps, and trains, you know, I have a lot of time to be in the gym. I'm able to be in there 5 days a week for, you know, an hour and a half to 2 hours, right? And recover very, very well with all the food I'm eating and the sleep I'm getting. You know, I might be able to handle a bit more volume than someone that can't. So I'm also younger. I'm 21 years old. Body's nice and fresh. You know, someone that's older might not be able to handle all this volume, or you might be able to handle all this volume and then you just relax on the intensity. There's so many different variables that you guys can play with. So if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to DM me on Instagram or drop it down again in the comments. And if you guys are interested in applying these training principles to your training, you guys can go ahead and click the first link in the description and book a coaching consultation call with me, and we will discuss how we can go forward with building your best peak natural physique. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys found some value from this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.